Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with episode 2507 of the Cabral Concept. If you want to read along with today's questions from the community, you can head on over to the exact URL, which is stephencabral.com/2507. As always, looking forward to tuning in and listening to your questions that have come in for the past few months. These ones are actually coming in from, let's see, well, about the beginning of September. And yes, I know we're closing in on the end of the year, but as I've been sharing with you, we're still maintaining about 12 to 13 weeks behind. And it looks like we're about 13 weeks right now. So of course, if you're new to the show, always happy to answer your question, and it will get answered. It may just take a little bit of time. Please do keep in mind, we do not review any of your questions. So if you ever have a customer service question, just email support@equa.life, or feel free to ask a non-customer support question at cabralsupportgroup.com, and you will likely get same-day answers. All right, let's get into your questions. All things wellness, weight loss, anti-aging. I'm just opening up the document now. Again, I don't do any prep work for the show, so this is not nor would it be considered medical advice, medical diagnostic work, treatment plans, or anything medical related. We'll just put it that way. Okay. You think by giving away those 4 disclaimers twice a week, every single week, I'd get used to saying them, but it still doesn't roll off the tongue. All right, let's get into it though. First question's from Alyssa. Let's see what Alyssa is saying. My daughter is 2 years old. She's developed severe food allergies to peas and lentils and green beans, and most recently, sesame and chickpeas. We had to use her EpiPen for sesame and chickpeas about 4 months ago, and these were foods she had previously had without any reaction. Fortunately, we had our EpiPen for the previous known allergies, so we were able to address the systematic reaction for the sesame and chickpeas. We've been working with pediatrician, allergists, and also our local naturopathic doctor, and have incorporated vitamin D3, fish oil, and acacia powder into her diet, along with probiotics. Okay, and a multivitamin. She had eczema as a baby, so I put her on the gluten and dairy, and skin issues seemed to clear up. Not wanting to restrict a toddler's diet too much, we incorporated the dairy and gluten back in. I strive for whole foods, fruits and vegetables, but she can be a very picky eater. And most of the gluten and dairy-free items, such as cheese, she used to eat has chickpea or pea protein in it. All right, totally get it, understand what tests you're looking for. All right, so let me do my best to help. It certainly seems like, but again, there's no medical diagnosis here, that there is some level of gut permeability that at 2 years old should really start to close up by this time. So as a little refresher, gut permeability is there on purpose by nature until about 1.5 years, 2 years old. And the reason for this is so that when a child is breastfeeding from their mother, they're getting actual immunoglobulins, lactoimmunoglobulins, that are passing from the mother in the milk. That's where we get the lacto, right? And then you're getting the immunoglobulins, you're actually getting the white blood cells. So when a baby or young toddler gets a cold or anything like that, the mother's body, in its innate wisdom, actually begins to produce the right antibodies, even if the mother's not sick, for the baby. I mean, it's miraculous, really, in how it works. But by 2 years old, just with nature, a human child, is typically weaning and they're eating more whole foods. Okay, so then the gut needs to now close up because we don't want it permeable, because we don't want proteins in certain foods causing sensitivities or allergies in the body. So what we need to do is just really take a good look at that gut-based function. I certainly do recommend running the bacteria and parasite stool test if you can only run one. The second one would be the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. And the third one would certainly be the IgG food sensitivity test to see what's going on an ongoing latent-based reaction from food sensitivities. I have case studies in all these. A lot of people don't know that I have case studies that actually show you what the labs look like. You can go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, and on the right-hand column of the website, there's little yellow boxes, and I believe it's the last one that says case studies. And you can actually just take a look at the case studies, and you'll learn a lot, I think, by just looking at other people's labs that have, of course, been redacted. All right, so that's the best place to start, and so that we can heal and seal that gut wall if that is exactly what needs to be done. And of course, elimination diet to a degree will need to be done, but you'll get all of that as part of running the labs. All right, Natasha's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all of your incredible work you do. Thank you, Natasha. As a former patient of yours and now a student in IHP2, I'm a big fan of your work and your mission. As I will soon be working with clients as an IHP and recommending protocols, I would love to be able to recommend the DNS. However, I recently purchased it to use myself after years of being away, and I'm surprised at the other ingredients. I am curious to know why natural flavors are included versus pure extracts for flavor. What those consist of, as well as sugar and salt. I'm surprised that they are included at all, but they don't even say coconut sugar, Himalayan salt, or one of the clean versions. Let's see. They're all ingredients that I tell my clients to watch for. I've included them. Would love some insight. Thank you in advance. All right. So I answer this at least 2 to 3 times a day. I'm happy to do it. I continue to do it. I just wish that more people heard the answer so that I didn't explain it 3 times a day, but I am happy to do it. So the thing is, we are a FDA regulated facility. We do things by the letter of the law, which most companies do not. People don't even know the letter of the law unless they're using the highest level facilities that also create supplements for Olympic athletes, professional athletes, like the highest level humanly possible. Okay, so like I said, I answered this multiple times a day. I'm always happy to help. But again, just keep it in mind. We use an FDA-regulated manufacturer. They produce the highest level quality supplements. They can be used for Olympic athletes. They can be used for professional athletes. They're NSF certified. So we actually have to write things the way that they're supposed to be written. So the truth is we use vanilla extract. Like that's what we use. We use an extract. Anybody who knows me, I mean, whether you've been a former wellness client of mine, you're an IHP, you know that I use these products myself, with my family, with everyone. These are the cleanest products in the world. But I have to write the legal words on that. And that is an extract. People don't understand that an extract is a natural flavor. It's been extracted from a food. It's not that food anymore. That's what it is. So I can't also write Himalayan pink salt. People write that all the time. You're really not supposed to write that on a nutritional supplement. You can write it on a food-based item, which is different legal labeling. So again, I just wanted to share with you, like, this is, this is what we do at the highest level. We just do it by the book, and it's no different than anyone else, except that you just can't write vanilla extract. You write natural flavor because that's what it is. Now, do some people use natural flavors from maybe GMO-based products? Yes. But if you look at our bottles, they say non-GMO on them. So I'm not asking people to trust me. I'm not saying that. But also just understand that just because another health guru shared with you that all natural flavors are extracted from GMO mold or corn, that person's not correct, right? They get paid to grow their following on social media and, write books and whatever it might be. And that's fine, but it's not what I do. And what I do is create the highest quality formulas, I think, in the world. And a lot of research goes into it in the very best facilities for you. So you actually know exactly what you're getting. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. It's obviously, it's frustrating to me and my team, but we get it. We understand. But also we can't change things because we use an FDA regulated facility, like the best of the best. So that's also why you're never going to have any heavy metals. You're never going to have anything bad in the product because the manufacturer cannot release these products from the facility. All right. So anyway, but again, people should do as they feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I really am totally fine with that. Again, there's nothing more I can do except say the same thing 3 times a day. That's all right, though. It is what it is, All right. So Anonymous is up next. Hi, hope you're well. What do you think of Yoni Pearls? Thank you and have a great weekend. All right. So Yoni Pearls is certainly becoming a lot more, I guess, popular is what it is. But typically, and the problem is this, that people play it off as Ayurvedic. And I guess this is going to be a rant podcast today. But and again, first of all, Natasha, no offense to you whatsoever. It's a good question to ask. Many people have that question. I totally get it. I understand. And Anonymous had asked about Yoni Pearls, and she's not saying anything negative either. The problem is, people are using Ayurveda anytime they use herbs. And they're like, an Ayurvedic-based herbal pouch used as an Yoni Pearl that's inserted into a woman's vagina. Well, first of all, Ayurveda didn't do that. Like, that's not a thing that Ayurvedic medicine teaches, like, whatsoever. I mean, I've done panchakarma for months and months and months inside of Ayurvedic clinics. Do we do basti? Yes, that's like an enema, an herbal-based enema, and all of that comes out. The Yoni Pearls, they're asking women to hold these inside their vagina for anywhere from like hours to 2 to 3 days typically. So we have to understand is, like, people shouldn't play this off as Ayurvedic medicine. It's not. Are there herbs that they're using, like mungwort, which is actually used in traditional Chinese medicine, or what else is another one? Rhubarb and other extracts like that? Sure. But I think you have to be careful. I just don't think that this is a practice that a lot of women should partake in. That's my opinion. There is such a thing such as yoni steaming, things like that, but Yoni Pearls are said to help detoxify the vagina. The woman's vagina does a fine job at detoxifying itself as long as the bacterial balance is where it should be. And I've talked about that actually on many podcasts, because what happens is there can be a lot of bacterial vaginosis, there can be yeast infections, there can be other issues such as discharge if a woman's bacterial balance is not more acidic. So in our practice, we work internally and we'll work externally. So internally is doing things like the gut bundle of labs, like finding out your bacterial balance with the bacterium parasite stool test, the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, like those two are essential. And then if needed, okay, we'll do the CBO protocol with citruslytyl drops if needed. And then externally, sure, maybe we'll do something like a boric acid-based capsule, or we'll do a vaginal suppository of a more acidic-based probiotic that would naturally match a woman's vagina's bacteria. So again, you know how much, obviously, I love Ayurveda. It is a big part of my lineage, of my learning, and what I've used in my practice. But this is not an Ayurvedic-based practice that was done very often, if at all. I can tell you that, especially for detox. All right. So again, I don't recommend it. It's just not something that I would recommend in my practice. All right, Simon is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been tracking my sleep for the last 18 months with an Oura Ring. My deep sleep is quite good. However, I appear to get very little REM sleep, typically 15 to 45 minutes. Apart from sleep timing, are you aware of any supplements or practices which affect amount of REM sleep you get? Thanks. Okay, yeah, happy to help on this. I've actually done a bunch of podcasts on REM sleep. So the two that I give out all the time is the two-part series, 1706 and 1712. Those two I have memorized. But there's another one on, like, can you get too much REM sleep? And that wasn't too, I know obviously it's the opposite of your problem here and your issues. That one is not coming to mind, and I'm doing a quick scroll for you right now on REM sleep, and I don't find it. So what you can do is ask at cabralsupportgroup.com for the latest podcast. Oh, there it is. Too much REM sleep, 2336. So let's have you listen to 1706, 1712, and 2336 to get started. For sure, those are going to answer your questions. And then here's one more for you. I want you to look at 2321. All right, 4 podcasts. That's going to be about an hour of podcasts, and I think you'll have your answer by then for sure, because deep sleep needs to be at that 90 minutes plus, and REM needs to be at 2 hours plus. If REM goes above 3, it means something, such as a lot of stress going on in the mind. And if it's not that, we need to look at body temperature regulation, glucose levels, stress. We need to look at a lot more to that picture, and you'll learn all of that on those 4 podcasts. So those are completely free. Check them out. All right, Ryan is up next. Ryan says, hey, Doc, I've gone through IHP level 1 and level 2, done all the protocols for improved health that Equilife has to offer besides the mold. What is that? The mold protocol. Okay. My question is in regards to deviated septum, and I wanted to get the latest take since I know you deal with this as well. I believe I was born with mine. Obviously, I focus on gut health and lowering histamine. That does use some inflammation or reduce some inflammation. But even at my best, my left nostril just cannot oxygenate very well. I have a cone beam scan that shows the reduced airways, which I got done to check on my oral health. I do not want surgery, but really want a better option than what I've got. What's frustrating is when I do cardio, such as HIIT sprints, my recovery is so much faster if I pull apart my nostrils in between sets. That alone does make me consider surgery to widen it. However, of the major difference I feel when I peel my nostrils out, this must have a dramatic effect on stress in my body. Okay, yeah, I totally understand. And there's no directory that I know for holistic ear, nose, and throat doctors or surgeons. Like that's a hard ask. I don't know that that would ever exist. But I've looked through this inside and out. I mean, I really have, because I have a really bad deviated septum on my right side. So I can, like, if I close my nostrils right now, you can hear the air has a difficult time, and my nose is not congested. I just have a very difficult time getting through this little sliver. So my nostrils are normal size at the bottom, maybe a little small in general, but I don't have a short nose at all. I have a longer nose. To get to the top, that's where it closes up tight. And so what happened with me, maybe I was partially born with it, maybe not, but I was very, very young, around 6 months old or so. I fell. I was strapped into a car seat. I've never shared this story. And like one of those little, car seat type things. And I fell off of an island. So the island's like 4 feet off the ground, flat on my face, and my nose was bleeding. And as a baby, for your nose to bleed is very, very odd. So anyway, it took me to the doctors, and there's nothing you can do because it's just very, very soft cartilage and bone there. And I'm sure that fall explains a lot, right? But that's the issue. And so I have a difficult time getting good oxygen in, although I practice at it. So when I go for a jog, like running outside, I keep my mouth closed. I've shared that before. So it works on me being able to maximize what oxygen I can get, obviously, through my nose. And then I try to do the same on a bike and just breathing during the day. Malt taping is very helpful as well, if you haven't tried that yet, Ryan. And then what I do is when I really need to be able to breathe through my nose with exercise, I use a nasal strip. So you've probably seen them before. What's the company that obviously made it so popular? I don't know, but they're the nasal strips that go over your nostrils and they pull your nostrils open, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've actually pulled my nostrils apart as well, from the bottom to see if I could get more air in, and it does work. So, the nasal strips are very helpful when exercising and sleeping overnight. And they make silicone inserts as well. They look like cones, and you can insert them in your nostrils and it just opens the nostril. To me, that it helps a little bit, but I don't like them inside of my nose, and so I don't use those very much. So I've wondered the same thing, should I have surgery? I've debated that as well, to open up those nostrils, because it is incredible. And yes, there is a certain degree of stress to it, but if you get used to breathing through your nose, just low and slow, you'll be able to figure that out. So hopefully that was helpful. All right, one more question today, and it's from Natalie. Natalie says, what do you think about Soleil water, and are there benefits to drinking a teaspoon of it in your water daily? Yes. Okay, totally get the question. For most people, when they refer to as Soleil water, it's S-O-L-E, Sol, but it's pronounced Soleil. All you're really doing is adding some Himalayan sea salt to your water. And this is something that most Ayurvedic and natural health practitioners have been recommending for a long time. If you see my podcast on natural Gatorade, you'll see me that I typically do recommend a pinch of sea salt. So how much salt should you do to taste? So basically, the more you taste the salt, the less that you need it. And that the human body, again, is very impressive in that way. But a lot of people get plenty of salt in their diet, right? They don't need a whole lot more salt. But you can actually take in a little bit more salt if you take in more potassium. And most people's diets are fairly low in potassium. And I've shared that on, I think, just 2 Friday reviews ago, that even reducing sodium for high blood pressure does not work as well as adding potassium. And so that's interesting, because it always is all about the sodium to potassium ratio. I've shared that as well on many, many podcasts. So in Ayurveda, it'd be a pinch of sea salt and it'd be a squeeze of lime. You could also use lemon. So the lemon or lime is giving you the potassium, and then the Himalayan sea salt or rock salt or Redmond's real salt, they're all great. I've talked about them before. I've talked about Celtic sea salt, are all really nice. And again, I just call that natural Gatorade. It's the natural sodium, and then you get some potassium from the lemon or lime, with basically no sugar from lemon or lime. So hopefully that's helpful. So yes, I do use it. I don't necessarily, I mean, I use it sometimes myself as well. I use it in my practice, and it just really depends on the individual. I think first thing in the morning to get a little bit of those natural electrolytes in a big, tall glass of water, I think is absolutely fantastic. I do that myself. I use the daily fruit and vegetable blend, and then I add in a pinch of sea salt, and I do a big squeeze of lime, like a half sliced whole lime just squeezed in there. So that is that. Hopefully that was helpful here today. I appreciate all of your questions. I am going to answer 6 more tomorrow, so definitely tune back in. I hope you have an amazing rest of the weekend, and I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.